Many are the abandoned convents, abbeys and monasteries throughout Europe and Portugal, just like this one. But why were they constructed? What's the difference between a monastery and a convent? And why do they lie abandoned, sometimes in the middle of nowhere? I'll be investigating these questions with you in this episode while showing and telling the history of this abandoned monastery. Welcome back to ES Forgotten. My name is Danny, your host, and today I'll be showing the convent that I'm in right now. It's called Convent de Almeada, also known as Mosteiro de Veride. And as you can see, I said convent and monastery. It has two different names, I'll explain in a second. But first, have you subscribed? You just go a little bit down and click the subscribe button. There's a train. You'll also discover why there's a train passing by. And while you're there, click the like button. And I have time. I'm gonna just wait here somewhere. I have a lot of time. No, actually I don't. I'm sorry. I have to tell the story. Let's go inside. Subscribe. I saw that you didn't. Just subscribe, please. Thank you. 1194 is the year of the first known reference to the monastery through the donation of the lands to the friars of the Monastery of Santa Cruz de Coimbra, who were responsible for its construction. It was designed for the rest and relaxation of the friars who spent the summer days next to the Mondego River, like a holiday camp for the men of God. In the meantime, the monastery would have changed hands and was sold to the monks of the Order of Santana, being sold again to the monks of Santa Cruz in 1285, who occupied it until 1834. In 1572, the property was bought once again, this time by the Prior-General of Santa Cruz, and here he founded the convent. These places of worship were always tied to the traditions of rice cultivation, along with other agricultural activities. I assume it's at this time that the monastery became a convent. But what's the difference? In the Catholic Church, we have a diversity of religious buildings, like churches, chapels, cathedrals, basilicas, parish churches, convents, monasteries, abbeys, seminaries, oratories, sanctuaries, and the list goes on. And in Portugal, Spain and other countries we have Ermida, which the best English translation for it is small chapel. And it is. We just like to be fancy sometimes. Okay, now I definitely made you more confused and with a lot of questions, so I'm gonna break it down for you on a scale of how large these places of worship are. By the way, keep note of how many times I say usually. I'll explain in the end. Ermida, the small chapel, is a very small chapel. They are usually located outside of towns, in remote areas and or high grounds. I don't have an oratory in my area or even around this area, so I'm gonna explain it here. Basically, an oratory usually has the same functions as a chapel, but it can be a public or a private building. Rare is the occasion, but these very small places can still be found in small towns in Portugal. It seems some of these buildings have been developed into chapels. The word oratory can also mean a shrine with images of saints, intended for private devotion. It originated in the Middle Ages and is still used in homes as places of prayer today. A chapel is usually smaller than a church and is not run by a pastor or a priest. There's no mass or any given sermons. They are typically found inside of large buildings like castles, hospitals, schools, cemeteries, prisons, etc. But also inside and outside of small towns, just like this one behind me. Churches, on the other hand, are buildings of various sizes. They are run by a pastor or a priest. It's a permanent congregation where people gather to attend church at a scheduled time, making these places a community. Usually, churches can be found everywhere. In the more rooted Catholic countries in Europe, in my case Portugal, they are everywhere. You can go to the smallest of the smallest town and you will find one. There's over 4,000 churches in Portugal. Here, there's always a church somewhere. Parish church, or parochial church, is basically the premium version of a church. It's the central church. A town or a city may have multiple churches, and this one is the main one. Sanctuary is a sacred place set apart from the profane and ordinary world. Originally, sanctuaries were natural locations where the divine was believed to be specially present. These buildings come in all shapes and sizes, but they are usually found on high grounds like hilltops. But this behind me is also a sanctuary and a parish church. But why this designated name? Let me show you another place. Jeez, it's been a lot of driving today. Another one. Right now, we are in one of the most religious places in Portugal, Fátima, and I'm here just to show you the variation of name designations. We are currently standing in Sanctuary of Fátima. It's composed by the Chapel of the Apparitions, the Altar of Sanctuary of Fátima, the Basilica of Our Lady of Rosary of Fátima, Jesus, this is a long name, the Chapel of Our Lady of Sorrows, the Basilica of the Holy Trinity of Fátima, and more. As I told you before, the word sanctuary is very connected with the belief of a strong divine presence. The last three places that I've shown are connected with miracles believed to have happened in the places they are built. This one, Santuário de Fátima, is one of the recent miracles which happened in 1970. It's called Miracle of the Sun. It's a story for another video. This is the biggest and most known religious place of Portugal. But right now, let's drive again and find a cathedral. Seriously, they have a fragment of the Berlin Wall and they couldn't build a cathedral here? Jesus, let's drive. A cathedral is basically a large church, usually with towering architecture on the outside and extravagant designs on the inside. The word derives from the Greek word cathedra, meaning throne or seat, which is the symbol of authority, because a cathedral is almost always the seat of a bishop, the chief of the church of a diocese. I'm back. Before basilica became a name of a type of building, it was a type of architecture, very popular in ancient Rome. Basilica-style buildings were used as markets, courthouses, and meeting halls during the 1st century BCE. Basilica is a building of important canonical status and privileges, such as geographical jurisdiction and international status, usually due to its history. There's two types of basilicas, Basilica Major and Basilica Minor. Funny enough, a cathedral can be a basilica, but a basilica doesn't need to be a cathedral. I couldn't find a reasonable motive. Just make it make sense. A Catholic seminary is an educational institute that teaches students scriptures and theology as a main part of the curriculum, as well as normal classes. That's it. I don't even know why I put this in the list. Now comes the most confusing part. A monastery is a building or a complex of buildings where monks or nuns worship, whether living in communities or alone, like hermits. It may include a church or a chapel, as well as domestic quarters, gardens, and other facilities. Originally, all Christian monks were hermits and rarely met other people. A traditional form of monasticism was later created in which solitary monks lived close enough to one another to offer mutual support as well as gathering together on Sundays for commune services. Monasteries can be found in a variety of different styles, from simple buildings to elaborate complexes, often built near water and/or isolated locations. When it was constructed, the monastery behind me was totally isolated, but with the passing of time, a village grew around it. I personally love this Gothic monastery, and it's one of the most visited monuments in Portugal. This is Mosteiro de Batalha, and fun fact, my parents got married inside of this colossal architectural structure. Depending on the location and its religious order, the complex may include a wide range of buildings that facilitate self-sufficiency and service to the community. These may include an infirmary, a hospice, a school, agriculture and manufacturing buildings such as barns, and even a brewery. These buildings were very important contributors to the surrounding community, being the centers of intellectual progression and education. A convent is an enclosed community of nuns, monks, friars, or religious sisters. Women were educated and were able to write books and publish works. Whatever the architectural style of their construction, they maintained a fundamentally identical layout given the demands of the religious life. Things are about to get 100 times more confusing. An abbey is a type of monastery. That was timing. Abbeys are a complex of buildings and land for religious activities, work, and housing of monks and nuns, always under the governance of an abbot or abbess. Here, they would combine religious activities and income operations, which guarantee their self-sufficiency, as well as social institutions such as a school. It's comprised of many smaller buildings, like a separate monastery, a convent, a place to receive gifts and offerings, and a place of worship. An abbey may be the home of an enclosed religious order or may be open to visitors. Basically an amalgamation of everything that we talked about so far. The monastery behind me, Mosteiro de Alcobaça, is the finest example of a Portuguese abbey. Now, let's break all of this down, the differences between a monastery, a convent, and an abbey. Historically, the term monastery is generally used for buildings housing a community of monks, while in modern usage, the term convent tends to apply to a community of women. Unlike an abbey, a convent is not a place under the responsibility of an abbot or an abbess, but a superior or a prior. Look at it like this. A convent is a mini community open to the general community. Oh, and this one killed me when I read it. Here he goes. The terms monastery and convent are often used interchangeably. I think what they mean is that the buildings may change over time, like this one. Because right under was the following. Sometimes the term convent is mistakenly confused with monastery. A convent is used for a building constructed in an urban area. A monastery applies to the opposite, that is, to a building constructed outside of cities. However, nowadays, due to the expansion of cities, many monasteries are located in urban areas. So, when classifying them, we have to look at the surroundings at the time of their construction. This building was, and kinda still is, constructed far from towns, so here we see the term monastery. I think he only gained the term convent when he started to be accessed and used by the community. But wait there. Now, scratch everything that I said, because in many countries in Europe, it doesn't work quite like that, especially in Portugal. This building behind me may seem like a chapel or a church to you. Well, it isn't. It's an Ermida, the small chapel that I first referenced. I said, and I quote, usually located outside of towns, in remote areas and or high grounds. But it isn't. It's here. God knows why. But jokes aside, I hope I explained everything well enough for you to understand the various meanings and differences. I decided to show multiple religious buildings in Portugal for you to have a visual example of each building, noting that they all come in different shapes and sizes. Always remember to take these names in terms with a grain of salt. Just like this building was a convent as well as a monastery. Let's go back inside and keep going with the history. In the mid-18th century, the convent was amplified and remodeled. The city hall says that, although the 18th century architectural project is not known, it's possible to verify that it was incomplete, giving the large facade should end with another turret. Also identifying that the residential area presents several integral remaining of quality, such as the dining room and rooms with excellent finishes from the 17th and 18th centuries. The external walls were plastered masonry and painted in a reddish color that in some parts you can still see today. In a second, I'm gonna give you a tour and explain all the architectural and design aspects of this mysterious place, but I cannot move forward without mentioning the Baroque fresco in one of the rooms. From 1755, it depicts the coat of arms of Portugal and the order of the friars of Santa Cruz. I'll tell you more about it later. In 1832, the convent was sold at a public auction to a family, who have owned the rest of the farm, barns and wine cellar since then. It was used by the friars until 1834, undergoing interventions and renovations over the years. It was abandoned after the religious orders were extinct in Portugal in the same year. Not only this one, but many monasteries and convents throughout the country were abandoned and fell into disuse. But what is a religious order? What was their purpose? And why were they extinct? There are many religions with different religious orders, but I'm only going to talk about Catholicism. I'm not even going to go into military religious orders. I'll be here all day. In the Catholic Church, a religious order is sort of a religious institute of consecrated life characterized by its members taking vows in the name of the Church. Monks and friars make up a majority of members of religious orders, living a community life. These orders were created as a group effort to propagate religion. To make this happen, military orders were created to fight the infidels, and religious orders were responsible for the management and maintenance of the faithful, and or dedicated only to supporting pilgrims. And their extinction in Portugal came because of political reasons. By the Diploma of 1834, all convents, monasteries, colleges, hospice, and other houses of regular religious order were declared extinct, mainly due to the period of profound restructuring in the socio-political organization of the state. Many European countries, like Romania and Spain, also ended their religious orders around the same time, late 19th century, 20th century. One of the biggest robberies in the property happened in the 20th century, where the tiled panels of the church disappeared. To this day, only the side altar tiled panels have been recovered. From my research, this monastery is classified as Monumento de Interesse Público, in English, Monument of Public Interest, in February of 2011. By the way, in Portugal we have a big list of heritage classification to give to various buildings or properties. But why were convents and monasteries built? Why were they so important during the Middle Ages? And what were their functions? The simple answer is they were built to provide a home for those who served God and to help the community. During the medieval times, these buildings served as a center of education, healthcare, hospitality, and of course, spiritual guidance. Monasteries in particular played a pivotal role in the society because monks and friars were mainly the only people in rural communities who knew how to read and write, offering access to education and social welfare. These made these places become the center of administration, writing, and copying manuscripts as well as record keeping. Not forgetting that the travelers and the poor would be housed, helped, and fed here. They had the best techniques and supplies to cure diseases at the time. More than a place of worship, this was a place for the community to grow, protect, and take care of their people. Now that I've told you all the history and details, let me take you on a tour inside. Give me the camera. Now you're gonna come with me. Okay, let's start from here. This is the main entrance because this is the road next to it. So I guess this is not the facade, it's just the main entrance. I don't think there's another gate. Everything is overgrown, as you saw by the drone footage. It's a wonder of nature, birds, and everything is so peaceful. I love going through here and just seeing this. Okay, right when you enter, this building, I don't think it was properly finished, but you can see here was a garden. You kind of see there was a fountain here somewhere, and down there was barns, but everything's just taken over by nature. It's extremely hard to see what was built here. It's very, very hard. This is how hard it is to go through all of this. Oh God. I love the flowers. So glad that I'm filming this in spring. Okay, here we get to... There's no cloisters, but I would assume this was the main garden. This part doesn't lead anywhere, which is weird. And this part just leads here. I think they had like some birds or things, but everything is falling down. There's nothing else. You can still see the Baroque and neoclassic architecture, mainly inside of the rooms, which is to that side, which I'll show you at the end. I first want to show you the chapel, which is one of the remaining things of this convent. And as you can see, there's, I don't even see the walls. There's just, I don't know what was here. And yes, we have to go again under all of this. It's so beautiful. It's just like, I don't know, it feels like I'm wandering to a dense forest and it's just a convent. Many parts of the building are just destroyed or empty. I'm just gonna show you the most important parts, otherwise I'll be here showing a bit of nothing. But these were barns, I would say. They're just empty, there's absolutely nothing. And this one is destroyed. Okay, before I show you that, I just wanna point out that you kind of see some sort of cloisters. So definitely this was a garden in the center. And it's kind of beautiful, these arches. But here is one of the most intact parts of the convent. Definitely washing basin or something, because I think this here was the kitchen, or the pantry in this case. There's nothing left, and you might think, Danny, why do you think this was the pantry? As you can see, there's not much. I think this was the pantry because of the dumbwaiter. There's a broken, almost unrecognizable dumbwaiter here. And I'm pretty sure this was the wine cellar. And to these rooms were storage rooms. Oh my, look at this cabinet. Beautiful. Let's not touch it. 1630. Wow, didn't saw that before. You see, this feels like it's the kitchen, because there's not a lot of fireplaces in here. But yeah, definitely the kitchen. Definitely the kitchen. Wow, okay. I thought I knew everything about this place, but I guess I'm learning. And once again, most of the rooms are destroyed. These ones are empty, they don't have... Okay, this was the bathroom, they still have something. But I love the architecture, look at how arched this is. This was another door to the open yard. Let me show you the chapel. I have to be really careful because everything is falling down. And it doesn't look safe. This is the outer courtyard. I would assume there's a lot of stuff here and there's more buildings to that side. Most of them I cannot access because they just fall down. I'll show you in a second from up there. But here you see this huge main door. That's the entrance to the church. You could also enter to the corridor that I came, but this entrance is just better. Look at that. I love this church, a chapel. I need to correct myself because this is actually a chapel, not a church. So, yeah. Normally chapels are not of this size, and this is just a huge altar, as you can see. Definitely, Mass was done here. Definitely, 100%. And up there would be the choir, or I've heard that up there, those arches, were the nuns or the friars that couldn't get in touch with people. They lived separately, so they would stay up there. I'll show you the view from up there. But it's very interesting because that place would have like wooden panels, and you could only see from a small window. The side altars are completely torn apart. Only this altar is left. And like I told you in the story, all the tiles were destroyed completely. The chapel got stripped out and vandalized, and this is the remaining fragments of the tile panels. It's very sad. There are 3 tile panels attributed to Pedro Alexandrino. 2 of them, I think it's this one, I'm not sure, because you cannot see them because they are completely destroyed. But I think this one was represented the Saint Augustine, and I think this one on this side represented the Saint Monica. But I'm not 100% sure, so it could be either way, vice versa, I don't know. Here you can see the high quality panels. Tiled panels, should I say. They're very high quality. Damn. It's sad when people destroy stuff. These ones have some intact panels. Kind of. Okay, here is the part that I said that I'm gonna show you from up there. Like, there's nothing. Literally nothing. I kind of guessed this was like a preparation room because he has a fireplace or a dining room of some sort, but I don't know. Be careful here. This is full of holes. But you see, this was definitely a separated part. Of course, you can access from downtown to up here, but this was definitely a separated part for people not to mix. Or the choir. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think a chapel normally has a choir, so yeah. And those 2 things down there that looked thick, those were, I think, buried monks or friars. Not sure. Because I heard the story that they stole bones from here, but I cannot confirm that. Here they also stole all the tiles. Everything. Okay, already on the other side. We have to cross in a very weird way to get to a beautiful room that I want to show. But while we're at it, this was definitely the barns, part of the community, as I explained before. Let's go back outside. It's very bright. The sun is sharp today. There's a lot of just vegetation. It's crazy how the nature just grew inside of this monastery. Very crazy. Here, sorry if you hear noise, the train track is literally there. So if a train goes by, you will definitely hear. Here you can see the original reddish color. It's fading away, and definitely the parts where nature has been taken over, it's gone. Sorry, my English is going away because today in Portugal is very hot. Right now I'm above the facade, the arched facade that you saw on the drone shots. I have no idea how to get there, and also it doesn't look 100% safe. Wow, this is so dark. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't know where the stairs are. They must be somewhere around here, but I cannot see where. This place was more of a farmhouse than a convent. People would come here more for the barns, as you can see. This is a whole complex of just barns, as you can see. But I love the arch style building. I know it's not properly focused, but I don't think you can see down there in the ceiling. I'm gonna point with my finger like there. It's a whole community of bats and they're just flying around. I don't want to bother them. They look very cozy, very cute, so I'm just gonna leave them there. Also, the place that I want to go is up there. So, yeah. But look at the view from up here. This building is very, very tall. Very tall. And I love the arches. Once again, I love it. It's just like, if you look at the construction, it's just a bunch of roof tiles with stones, with bricks, with whatever they got. Truly, the only construction that is actually like as it's supposed to be is the ceiling, because the rest is just whatever it came to hand, you know. But here becomes the most dangerous part. Above here there are rooms. I'm gonna go in a second. The wooden ones have all fallen out. Only the stone ones are okay. I'm just gonna go into this small little corner without touching anything. Don't worry, guys. To show you. Oh, there's a bat there. I don't want to bother it. But here is the oven. It's a huge stone oven. I'm gonna back off. Oh, you saw the bat. I'm sorry, I don't like to bother bats because it's their nap time. And I don't like when people are bothering me during sleep, so I'm gonna leave them sleeping, but this is a treacherous adventure. Look at that. Above here, oh, I can show you from up here, I guess. As you can see through this pass-through, this room was most definitely the dining room. That is now completely overgrown. There's nothing of it. I mean, I can see some tiles down there and on those corners, but nature has been taking it all. I love the plants, though. The corridor behind me, these were the rooms of the monks. As you can see, this is above the arched barn. As you can see, this was just their room, nothing else. They had a seat at the window to look, but it was it, nothing else. I don't even know where the bathroom is. I'm guessing it's this place. That's what I was checking. Yes, it has tile, it has a wooden roof, and it has a toilet. Okay, yeah, definitely this was the community bathroom, because there was no way of having in each room bathrooms, right? No, yeah, it's just empty room. There's literally nothing. There's no color, just white, plain. This is how they live. Also because of that, because they lived in the most simplest way, we don't know much. There was not a lot of records about what they did here, how they were, what they were. You know, there's many questions of what happened during their day-to-day life here. But one thing is for sure, they would gather in this room all together. This was a community room for sure. This I have no doubt. I don't know if this was the library or I don't know which kind of room it was, but definitely an important one. And I'm saying this because I think this was the most important room in the convent because of the fresco. I cannot explain. There's a train passing by. I'm sorry, it's gonna be echoey. I cannot put in camera how big this coat of arms is. It's just huge. It's huge and it's extremely high. I don't know if you can explain this. That door has like 3.5 meters, almost 4 meters. This whole wall until there has probably 5. That's probably like 7 meters high. Don't know in inches or foot, I'm sorry. but it's really tall. And if you look at the outside and all the rooms, it's very destroyed, the whole convent. But if you look up and if you look at this fresco, it looks mint compared to the rest of the convent. It's very well preserved. And there you can see 1755. The angel is holding, so that's the year that was painted, at least. And it depicts, of course, the cross with the two angels. It's the symbol of Santa Cruz de Coimbra, the order, the religious order, and under it, it's the crest of Portugal. And it's just so elaborate. I love it. And also the crown, of course, monarchy. It's beautiful. And definitely a powerful room in this convent, definitely. And also everything is made of stone. This is, I don't know if it's marble, if it's granite, but everything is made of stone. And I want to show you from the view from the window, because what you see here that is completely overgrown, all the way down there, everything here was from them. It was a farm. So they had crops, they had, as you can see, there's hay fields. They had many animals, mostly pigs and horses. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a fountain or a pit or a dove house. I have no idea. But here you can see that's the church. It's completely overgrown, completely taken over. It's beautiful. I love seeing this like this. I know it's very sad because we are losing a historical monument, but it's really beautiful. I know they're not going to do anything with it, so yeah. And the room that I'm in right now is the only building that is actually not covered, but it's not going to take long. But yeah. Sorry for the weird angle. I just want to talk while showing this Baroque style masterpiece above me. I love it. I literally came here mainly because I want to see that beautiful thing. But before you click off the video, subscribe. It would help me tremendously. You have no idea, and I will be grateful. And while you're at it, give it a like. Or two. No, you can only give one, unfortunately. I have to give a big thank you to the person that offered me a drone. You know who you are. Thank you so much, truly. It helps me tremendously to show these buildings because sometimes it's really hard. For example, this one, if I didn't show it from the outside, you guys wouldn't understand the complexity of nature with buildings, with stuff. So I truly appreciate it. And always, as I say in my comments, I want to thank to every single one of you that supports me, keeps watching, that likes, that shares, that keeps me going and making these videos because it hasn't been easy. I've been filming for 5 hours, okay? 5 hours? No, 3 months. I started recording this at the beginning of April and it's now almost June. But I think what Danny back then was trying to say is my videos are getting more elaborate, more research, more videos. As you can see, it's crazy. I've been editing for 3 weeks and I'm not even lying. For these past months, it became clear that this is what I want to show. This is what I want to do. Make proper videos, proper scripts, tell you stuff, show you stuff properly. And I'm sorry for the quality of the camera. My camera just died on me and the quality is terrible. I'm sorry. I have to get a new one. Also, one thing that I forgot to say is correct me if I said something wrong, if I forgot any places, if you know more stuff. I'm always interested to know and read about it in the comments, so let me know. I'm trying, let me get personal. I'm trying to make more professional videos and make thought out videos where I explain stuff, where I show things, abandoned or not abandoned, and this takes a lot of time. And for you guys to show appreciation, to leave comments, to keep liking the video, it's amazing to me and I'm truly grateful because that's what keeps me going and keeps me doing this, so thank you. Subscribe, like, but mostly leave your thoughts, opinions, and love in the comments. I love to read, I love to respond, especially this video because it's very weird and very different. I want to know your opinion on the things that I explain. Also follow me on my social media. There I post plus content and weird stuff sometimes. I don't know. And this little Portuguese guy says bye. Many are the abandoned convents, abbeys. Basically a oratory. Historically, mi amor, a chapel is usually small. Toma macchiato, per favor. Depending on its location, depending on the location and its religious border. I don't have more things to show in this palace. I think in this monastery. What am I saying? Depending on the location and its religious order. The external walls will church. So why does this? And this is a wrap.